Why do we reminisce about the old days? What is it about the past that pulls at us, even those of us who were never there? Maybe it's the simplicity, the charm, the raw energy of a time when things seemed clearer, and cars had soul. I wasn't alive during the gasser era. I'm 32, born decades after the 60s, but I feel a deep connection to that time. I grew up surrounded by stories of those glory days. The days when cars didn't just get you from A to B, but were extensions of your personality, your pride, and your passion. My father was born in the early 60s, right in the middle of that golden era. He loved cars, everything about them. In the 80s, he bought a '48 Chevy pickup and restored it in his parents' backyard. I can imagine it, the smell of motor oil, the sound of wrenches clanking, the look of pure satisfaction on his face when he brought that truck back to life. Later, he bought a '70 Chevelle, a car he loved, but eventually sold it to buy land. Cars were his passion, and he made sure they became mine too. From as early as I can remember, I was in that '48 Chevy pickup, heading to car shows with my parents. I was only 3 when we drove all the way to Canada for the NSRA Street Rod Nationals near Niagara Falls. Those early experiences sparked a lifelong love for classic cars. Fast forward to when I graduated high school, my dad bought me a '63 Chevy 2. I tore it apart, full of dreams and plans to restore it, but life had other ideas. I joined the military and the restoration had to be put on hold. My dad, though, never stopped. He's now working on another '70 Chevelle, bringing it back to life just like he did with that old pickup. While my own Chevy 2 project is still waiting, my passion for cars never faded. It evolved. I found a new way to stay connected to the car culture I love through the lens of a camera. Photography and videography became my outlet, my way of keeping that passion alive. And that's what led me to the Southeast Gassers. Being the videographer for SEGA isn't just a job for me. It's a way to immerse myself in the world I grew up in. A world that many of us, even those who weren't there, long for. Through my camera, I get to capture the spirit of those simpler times, the beauty of those classic cars, and the energy of the people who keep this culture alive. There's something special about gassers. It's not just the straight front axle or the raised front end, though those are part of it. It's the way they embody a time when drag racing was raw and untamed, when every car on the strip had a story, a soul. And it's not just the older generation who feel that pull. There's a whole group of us, born after the fact, who look back at those days with a kind of longing, a wish that we could have been there too. For those who lived through it, I want you to know we appreciate what you had. We might not have been there, but we feel it. We see the beauty in those cars, the simplicity in those times, and we wish, in some small way, we could experience it like you did. For my generation, those of us who weren't born in the 50s and 60s, this is our way of connecting with that era. Through SEGA, through these cars, through my camera, we're keeping that spirit alive. And maybe, just maybe, we're helping to bridge the gap between the past and the future, showing that no matter when you were born, some things, like the love of a beautiful car, are timeless. I might not have been there, but through SEGA, through my work, I'm part of it now. And now, as my dad instilled the love of classics in me, it's time for me to pass it on to my kids.